that time of evening when we bring you another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Welcome, I'm Audrey Williams. Our package today includes dispelling some myths associated with epilepsy, plus experiencing the coffee and conversation vibes at the Hanover Branch Library, and activities to celebrate Child's Month as May fast approaches. We also have the top news stories of the day and some very important messages, so stay with us.
Saving is not a maybe, it's a must. So hear this. Yo, turn off your light, turn off your TV and your fan. When you not use it, turn off your heater and your AC as part of the plan. When you not use it, the public sector retrofitting, so the private sector and we fi join in. Retrofitting? Yeah. What that? How you do that? Listen up, hey. A whole time light bulb. That's what that. Use energy saving bulb. I delete that. Put a regulator on your refrigerator. Use your wits to save water. Be smart, you know. And all motorists who love to drive fast. Ease up half of the gas. Save gas. Energy conservation throughout the nation. Every woman and man come join in the plan. The plan to save energy. We must save energy. Ease up on the energy. Up on the energy. Save today, protect tomorrow.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, April 27. National Security Minister Robert Montego is warning licensed firearm holders that their permits will be revoked if they use their weapons contrary to good practice. Minister Montego's warning follows two incidents recently where private gun owners brandished their weapons in public spaces. The minister says government will not condone this increasing and worrying trend.
Let me be very clear. If you pull your weapon or discharge it in a public space illegally, it will not only be removed and the license revoked, but you can take this commitment to the bank. It will not be returned.
The minister was making his contribution to the sectoral debates in Parliament Wednesday. Minister Montego also said he would be clamping down on motorists with blue lights on their motor vehicles, motorcyclists without proper helmets or proper documentation, and illegal taxi operators.
Legitimize yourselves as we are about to launch a major drive against illegal taxi operators. This minister supports taxi operators as long as you are legitimate.
Effective June 1, there will be a 30% increase in the benefits paid to the 360,000 registered beneficiaries under the Program of Advancement Through Health and Education, PATH. Labor and Social Security Minister Shahini Robinson made the announcement during her contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament yesterday. She also announced that $15 million has been set aside to provide scholarships to PATH students for the next academic year. It's among plans to mark this year's 15th anniversary of PATH.
This is intellectual capital investment, and we want to implore Jamaican families to secure the future now for the next generation by investing in their children's education. Send the children to school, encourage them to do well, and the government will help to further their educational pursuits.
Jamaicans will have an easier path to land ownership with the implementation of several institutional changes at the National Land Agency, NLA. Chief among them is the merger of the NLA and the Land Administration and Management Program, LAMP. Portfolio Minister Darrell Vaz says the merger is being spearheaded by a consultant who will see to the streamlining of the land titling business process. The consultant will also make recommendations for amendments to the regulations of the Special Provisions Act to enhance the work of the 16 LAMP adjudication committees island-wide.
A study is currently being undertaken with the assistance of the World Bank to allow the NLA to implement an electronic titling system which will involve a study tour of land information in New Zealand by a team from JAMPRO, NLA and the World Bank. Workshops in Jamaica to advance the reform of title systems and consultations with various stakeholders.
Minister Vaz says the state will also be using modern digital technology to make land titling more efficient and is sourcing manpower from the recently announced Geographic Information System Service Corps. Jamaica has signaled its intent to tap into the Green Climate Fund under the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. The country ratified the agreement in March, and the minister says Jamaica will develop 12 sector strategies and action plans to support the island's move towards a green economy.
Through the Commonwealth Secretariat, we have engaged a finance advisor to support Jamaica's efforts to develop a comprehensive program and a portfolio of projects in line with the investment priorities of the GCF.
St. James's hotel room stock is to be increased with the construction of an 800-room hotel along the elegant corridor in the parish. The luxury 5-star all-inclusive hotel, called the Hard Rock Montego Bay, is to be built on 23 acres of land at Rose Hall. 1,500 jobs are expected to be created in the construction phase and another 1,200 in the operation phase. Construction is to start by year's end for opening in 2019, subject to the necessary approvals.
The private sector is our partner to deliver in prosperity. This government is a business-friendly government. It facilitates business with a view of them making profits that can be reinvested to the benefit of our country.
To facilitate greater investments on the island, Minister Vaz says Cabinet has appointed a steering committee to guide the national policy. The steering committee is chaired by Senator Don Webby. And finally, Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, says the recently announced reduced property tax rates have now been reconfigured on its property tax system. Landowners can now see the reduced assessments on the TAJ's website through the property tax online query. The information is also accessible at tax offices. This does not apply to strata properties. As the TAJ says, further work is being undertaken to configure the system to reflect the new method for calculating their tax rates. The public will be updated once the assessments on strata properties become available. Meanwhile, persons finding it difficult to pay or who challenge their property valuations can find details of the various relief options in a special information hub on the TAJ website. Finance Minister Audley Shaw recently announced a flat $1,000 tax on all properties valued up to $400,000. A progressive tax regime with 8 bands, ranging from a low of 0.5% to a maximum of 0.9%, is applied above the $400,000 level. The lowered rates are being applied against the 2013 property valuations. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Parents, make sure the children get immunized. Hear this! Immunization, it is a must. This is not a joke thing, this you can trust. It is required by law for entry to nursery, to daycare and to schools. Listen up, it is necessary to prevent diseases such as the measles, the poliomyelitis, the lockjaw and the whooping cough. Immunize your kids, keep them healthy, keep them strong. Prevent deadly diseases such as mumps, rubella and diphtheria. Immunize your child today. Immunization, a key to good health.
A message from the Ministry of Health and PAHO.
How much do you really know about a disease many of us call fits, or more accurately, epilepsy? One fact is that at least 6 in every 1,000 Jamaicans are living with the disease today, and sadly, many are marginalized, unable to take their rightful places in society because so little is understood about the disease. Stay with us as we seek to dispel some myths associated with epilepsy.
What do Socrates, Theodore Roosevelt, Charles Dickens, Alfred Nobel, Prince, Lil Wayne, Elton John, Danny Glover, and Hugo Weaving all have in common? If you said they're all famous, that's not quite the answer I'm looking for. All these prominent figures are believed to have or had what many know as fits or seizures associated with epilepsy, one of the oldest and least understood medical conditions.
It is not dopey take you over, it is not spirits. We have these myths that we do need to dispel in Jamaica. Some people think it's contagious, and it is not contagious. You cannot catch epilepsy. Anyone, anytime can get epilepsy.
So, what is epilepsy? It's a disorder of the brain characterized by recurrent seizures, which are short periods of involuntary movements involving a part of the body, a partial or focal seizure, or the entire body, a generalized seizure. Our brains run on electricity, which is produced by cells called neurons. In some people, these neurons sometimes produce a sudden electrical burst or power surge, resulting in a seizure.
Epilepsy is a chronic disorder, just like asthma or diabetes. It's a disorder of the brain. And so when a patient has a seizure, they do have unusual behavior at the time of their seizure. But otherwise, they're usually quite normal. It's also not a mental illness. People with epilepsy are not crazy. It's a brain disorder, but it's not a mental illness.
The cause of epilepsy can be genetic,
meaning that you can be born with a genetic disorder that predisposes your brain to be abnormally wired, and that you are more likely to produce these epileptic discharges and have seizures recurrently. Sometimes you may have, when the baby is being formed in the first few months of their embryological life, you may have an abnormality happening with the brain formation.
Then, there are other conditions that can occur at any time during someone's life that can cause epilepsy.
Those conditions that are acquired would be those related to a physical injury to the brain or an infection in the brain, such as a meningitis, which is an infection of the covering around the brain, or an encephalitis, which is an infection of the brain substance itself, as well as you may have stroke, decreased blood supply, nutrients going to the brain, also causing seizures and epilepsy.
Seizures do not always involve convulsions or jerking of the body. There are in fact over 20 different seizure types. Many are quite subtle, as in the case of 12-year-old Liana.
We found out when she was about 3 months old. It was something very subtle. We found out that she was just staring in one direction for probably a minute or two, keeping that stare.
For Marvin Fullerton, his experience was different.
I first found out in 1994, November 1994, when I was in technical high school. What I did was feeling some itching on my skin. I went to the school nurse, asked her what was wrong with me, and she told me that I need to change my bath soap. Right.
And what happened after that?
Well, I changed my bath soap and nothing really changed after. But it was January 4, 1995 when I had my first attack. And I woke up in my father's car going to hospital.
Even though he was soon diagnosed with epilepsy, Marvin was able to live a normal life for most of his years as a student.
I was able to go to school. I was put on simple medications such as Tegitol CR 200. No problem. It was easy taking it. It prevented me from having an attack, but my body was not having much problems at those times.
Marvin went on to attend the Vocational Training Development Institute, VTDI, and the University of Technology. He holds a diploma in architecture and construction management. But despite his academic achievements, he still has challenges gaining employment.
I'm not working right now because it was just the other day I was in the hospital, right? And I got an interview for a job. The interview was wonderful, but I was in the hospital, so the job somewhat got turned down. They found out about the situation and I got turned down.
Unfortunately, there are those who believe that persons with epilepsy cannot work or lead normal lives.
Most people, 70 to 80% of people with epilepsy can have their seizures controlled. It's the person you employ who you don't yet have their first seizure. Those are the ones that you should be worried about, because any of us can develop epilepsy for different reasons at any time.
If you believe someone is having a seizure, there are some things you should never do.
Do not put any objects in the mouth. Do not put a spoon to hold the tongue down. Do not bring scallion. Do not take a dirty sneaker and put over the face.
So then, what should you do?
You need to cushion their heads. Whether you have a cushion or a jacket, you can take off and make a cushion just to support the head so they don't damage themselves. You loosen, if it's a man with a tie, loosen his clothing so that he can get some air and he can relax. You turn the person on the side. Do not put them with their heads right back. Turn them on their side and the tongue will fall and any fluids of the mouth will drain out to the side. And I guarantee you, you cannot swallow your tongue. A seizure would take between 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if the seizure continues for more than 5 minutes, you should take that person to the hospital.
Anti-seizure medication is the most commonly used method to control seizures. Discounts are available for epilepsy patients who are registered with the National Health Fund. But there are side effects. Some persons experience weight gain, drowsiness, irritability, skin rashes, and blood platelet changes, among others, all of which require understanding from those around them. Then, there is also medical marijuana or medical cannabis.
It seems to have helped a number of, especially children with epilepsy that have been intractable, that is difficult to treat. But in Jamaica, we still need legislation in order to use it, and there's still a lot of research that needs to be done about the dosing of the CBD or cannabidiol to be used to treat epilepsy, but it surely seems as though it may be promising.
Research has also shown that diets such as a ketogenic diet can help control the onset of epileptic seizures. The Jamaican Association for Epilepsy offers support for persons with epilepsy and their families. The association also holds regular meetings with members at the Andrews Hospital to share experiences and discuss concerns. They can be contacted at telephone 968-8274 or email jaepilepsy@gmail.com.
Sipping coffee and having conversation at a library wasn't heard of in the past, but times have changed, and so has the approach to sharing information. A relaxed atmosphere has been created at the Hanover Branch Library, where persons are engaged in different topics. Today is about the relevance of the library. We also highlight the armchair and travel experience. This is where cultures are exchanged by persons from different countries. You should visit the Hanover Branch Library, but until then, watch this.
The Jamaica Library Service, JLS, was formally established in 1948. Despite the changes, however, the JLS is still relevant and valuable to the numerous communities served across the 14 parishes. At the Hanover Parish Library, the relevance of public libraries was at the heart of the discussions of their coffee and conversation program. This program is used as a forum to engage the community in meaningful ways.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Hanover Parish Library Coffee and Conversation.
Over the past 5 or so years, people have been having this conversation that the internet has replaced the public library, that print books are no longer necessary, that everything you need, you can find at the touch of a button. Not so. The public library is still very much relevant. That's why we're having this conversation this morning.
From the conversation, it was highlighted that the public library has transitioned from being only a resource center for books and printed material to one that provides recreational, educational, and technological benefits and is a safe environment for the community.
I have gained a lot of knowledge here. My children came here for story hour, and they also came whenever there is any program lined up for kids. And since I'm an adult now, I have come to internet classes here.
There are students from the area who are not able to come into the town. The parents can't afford it. So the library bus coming to the school makes it much easier for them, and so more students can get to read. Apart from that, the students come to the public library to use the laptops and computers.
It will change, it has been changing, it will continue to change and evolve as the technology changes and evolves. And that's one of the main reasons why it is still relevant.
The Hanover Parish Library, through its armchair travel program, ensures that youth are provided with an opportunity for cultural exchange.
I know you love salt fish, but in Cuba, the Cubans eat pork, roasted pork, and rice, beans, and pork is a national Cuban dish.
It's an opportunity to expose our children to something outside of Jamaica. We know that oftentimes our children do not even leave their communities. They do not go into other parishes, and some of them will never have an opportunity to visit another island. So the library provides an opportunity, a social space where they're able to engage other cultures in that way.
Through partnership initiatives, the library has been able to expand the technological resources available to users.
There is the tablet tutorial, which has been made possible through a very, very kind donation of 10 tablets by the Hanover charities. And from that donation, we have been able to start here a program where we offer a course for members of the public, particularly our senior citizens.
We have been privileged to have had 33 computers added to our inventory from the Global Libraries Initiative.
These newly installed ICT resources have engaged both the young and the old and have complemented the public library's innovative and creative programs and services.
We have what is called Weenie Wednesdays, which we use as an opportunity to expose our children. We introduce them to various characters and so on, and of course we allow them to engage in role play and to interact with the books and so on in the department.
The Hanover Parish Library Network, which consists of the parish library, 5 branch libraries and a mobile library unit, is positively transforming communities across the island.
Have you been a victim of sexual assault? Have you been raped? It doesn't matter if you're a boy, girl, man or woman. There's a team of personnel willing and capable to assist you on the path to justice. The Victim Services Division. They provide support of all kinds, such as free, confidential counseling and assistance to attend court. You may not forget the ordeal, but the healing process will be easier. In any 1 year, more than 10,000 people get assistance. Don't hang your head in shame. Being a victim of a sex crime is not your fault. Contact the Victim Services Division. They're based at 47E Old Hope Road, Kingston 5.
All year round, messages encouraging the care and protection of our children have been constant. And starting next month, the messages will increase and the voices will get louder. Your support is needed, so here's a rundown of the activities for the month of May.
We must put light in those sad eyes. We all must right this wrong. Respect and love and hope must rise. Our resolve must be strong to break this cycle of abuse. We must replace the hate with our commitment to diffuse before it is too late.
One day, one day, one day, one day.
I am pleading to everyone in Jamaica to recognize that you have a role to play in highlighting our children in the month of May and highlighting the crisis that they face.
Among the many actions to be taken, our children should be taught from early the importance of making wise choices necessary to protect themselves from becoming prey to the numerous abuses that faces them on a daily basis. This awareness will also assist them in their time of trauma and need. It is our intention also as a committee to help individuals to recognize that breaking the chains of abuse that shackles the mind and bodies of its victims is the responsibility of everyone. It is therefore necessary that both homes and schools embark on a program that will teach our children how to identify a potential abuse, what action should be taken on their part, and the value of reporting. Parents should take an active interest in their children by listening to them and teaching them to be assertive in order to protect themselves.
To help drive home that message, a number of initiatives will be undertaken in the month of May. On May 1, local child care and protection agency, the Office of the Children's Registry, will launch its partnership with Facebook under its Ananda Alert system.
When an Ananda Alert is issued for certain categories of children who go missing, then it will be set not only on our local traditional circles, but using Facebook, it will share with all Facebook Jamaica users right here at home.
On May 7, there'll be a church service at Fellowship Tabernacle in Kingston. National Children's Day will be celebrated on May 19 with the National Child Month Committee setting up stations at the Halfway Tree Transport Centre and St. William Grant Park.
We want on that day for adults to really understand that your role in that day is to let your children, Jamaica's children, every child feel special, and also to wear something yellow.
And on May 31, there'll be a National Day of Prayer to be held right across the island, with the main service being held at the Bethel Baptist Church on Hope Road.
We at the Safe School Unit at the Community Safety and Security Branch will be embarking on a month-long island-wide school tour promoting motivation and development for our nation's children.
Several anger management workshops will also be undertaken to help children deal with conflicts. Sponsors for this year's staging of Child Month include Grace Kennedy Limited, National Baking Company, General Accident Insurance Company, and Kingston Bookshop. But there's still room for greater support.
We're appealing for sponsorship from just about public, private sector individuals. If you're out there and you really want to do something for Jamaica's children, this would be a good opportunity.
In addition to donating another $500,000 to this year's initiatives, the National Baking Company Foundation has set aside $4 million for a program geared at breaking the cycle of abuse and the risk factors associated with child maltreatment. The money will partially sponsor the 2-year program that seeks to, among other things, increase parent-child attachment, lower conflict, and increase parent knowledge on child development.
Late intervention is costly to the nation as Jamaica spends money and resources trying to address social problems such as crime and antisocial behavior, substance abuse, youth inactivity, violence in schools, and child protection.
Remember,
every child is born into the world filled with immeasurable potential. And as a nation, we must ensure that all our children have the support they need to realize that potential. Regardless of where they're from, regardless of their circumstances, every child deserves to be cared for, to be cherished, and more importantly, to be kept safe.
One day, one day, one day, one day.
That's how we bring down the curtains on our show for today. But if you want to see it again, log on to our website at jis.gov.jm. We always welcome your feedback, so keep sending your comments to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. Our team will be back with another show tomorrow. Same time, same station. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Audrey Williams. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.